Hey girls, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about anxiety and panic attacks, and particularly like my experience with panic and anxiety, how I'm overcoming it, like what I've learned, like things that might help you. And some of you have as well kindly asked me some questions over on Instagram that you want to know like a little bit more about anxiety and my journey, but also things that will help you as well. So I'm going to answer your questions. If you are not following me over on Instagram or TikTok yet, please do go and give me a follow. And if you like this video, please do remember to like and subscribe. I'm getting more into kind of doing like longer form content. So I've actually got like a new fancy little camera, which you can't see at the moment, but this is my first video trying this fancy camera. So I'm excited to see how this turns out as well. So yeah, go grab yourself a tea, a coffee, and let's spill the anxiety. TEA. I'll start off, I guess, with like a little bit of a context around like my personal journey and experience, because hopefully this is kind of like relatable for you and will kind of make sense, particularly if you suffer with anxiety or panic attacks. So I actually last year started getting panic attacks, and it was as a result of having long COVID. So I was really unwell with COVID for a good few months, and particularly in the gym I just started to notice that I was feeling like more and more anxious, particularly in regards to like when I started feeling like exhausted or like ill. You know, sometimes like in the gym you don't feel ill after a set, but you feel like a little bit like lightheaded, don't you, for example. I was getting really anxious about it. Like I was like really panicking that like people around me like were gonna judge me, like if I collapsed, or what if I was gonna throw up, or like what if I was gonna die, or I don't know. Like it may, if you get anxiety, you'll kind of understand that thought process. Like you feel like something really bad's gonna happen. And I'd had like general anxiety before up to this point, but like COVID just like really accelerated it. I'd always had like a little bit of kind of like social anxiety, but this was like very focused on like how my body was feeling. So that got progressively worse, and then I was going on holiday, and literally the day that we were flying I started having a panic attack, and I'd never had one before, and I was literally in like a panic attack for like 3 hours. And obviously I didn't know what was happening, like my heart rate was through the roof. I genuinely thought I was having a heart attack. Like it was really bad. I was still travelling now, like I went to get the train and then went to the airport, but then like the first day of holiday I was still having a panic attack in the morning when I woke up. Literally couldn't even go out for dinner, like exploring or anything. So I was kind of like, right, I need to go get some drugs, because I was just so like, I was just panicking all the time. Like I felt physically ill, like my heart rate was through the roof. I couldn't think about anything else. I didn't feel anxious about anything in particular, but I was just constantly having a panic attack, and I didn't know why, and I just couldn't control it. So went and got some medication, but in Spain the drugs are strong. Like literally they gave me antidepressants, and they gave me like a sedative, like relaxant thing, but they made me really ill. So anyway, ended up cutting the holiday short, coming back, going to A&E. I was put on diazepam, and then I was put on an antidepressant as well. So my journey from that point has been like rebuilding my confidence. Why do I feel like I'm getting upset already? Literally, we're like 3 minutes 50 seconds into this video, but it's fine, it's all good, we're gonna power through it. So my journey like from that point has been really like focused on trying to like build my confidence up. I've done like cognitive behavioural therapy, I've done general therapy, and I also did a mental health awareness course, a level 2, which you can actually do for free if you're in England. Free courses for England. And you can also do a level 3, and a level 2 is like GCSE level. But I did that because I wanted to just get like a more well-rounded understanding of like what mental health was, because I just didn't like have any knowledge of it, because you're not taught it at school or anything, are you? And I feel like it's not really until you personally experience it, or you know someone who experiences struggle with mental health, that you actually like start to learn about it. So that was like part of my journey. I really wanted to just like know more, and it kind of made me feel like a little bit less alone. Like there's so many different like mental health illnesses out there that I'd like not even heard of, or I didn't know anything about, or like I had assumptions of. So that was like really useful anyway. So I spent a bit of time like doing that. But obviously when I came back from holiday, I was obviously on my medication, and I literally like couldn't even like leave the house. I was so anxious to leave the house. Like even like sitting in the doctor's like area, I was just like so anxious like that I was gonna have a panic attack. So it kind of turned from me in the gym like feeling really really ill and like feeling anxious about what was going on around with me, to me now feeling like anxious that I'm gonna have a panic attack. So that's where I'm at the moment. Like I'm anxious about being anxious, and like I start to feel anxiety, and then I'm like, why do I feel like this? Like it's not okay. Like you have that like internal battle in your mind, don't you? And that's like really what I'm trying to navigate now. But as part of this journey, and if you follow me over on Instagram or TikTok, you would have seen that January this year I started doing one thing a week new on my own, just to like build my confidence up and kind of like feel anxiety and be okay with like feeling anxious. And that's such a big part of it. When you have anxiety, you feel like you shouldn't feel that way, but we forget that anxiety is just like, everyone gets anxiety. Like it's okay to feel that way, and that as well is part of that journey, like understanding that like to accept this new version of yourself, particularly if you didn't suffer with anxiety as bad before, or maybe you're like doing more things now that make you feel anxious, which is amazing that you are doing that if that is the case, because, and I'll go on to this, but it's only through pushing yourself out of your comfort zone that you start to like build that confidence up over time. So yeah, going back, sorry I go off on a tangent, but going back, obviously started in January doing my like one thing alone as part of like my graded exposure. I'd also obviously, when I came back from holiday, little things like I had to like try to like go out for a meal on my own, like went shopping on my own, went to a new gym on my own, and this is all part of that like kind of like pushing myself out of my comfort zone. And this may look like really different to you. It doesn't have to be as big as like going to a new gym on your own or things like that. It could just be like going on like a walk by yourself, or it's your own personal journey. So for me, like what's really helped me is taking those gradual steps that I feel like uncomfortable in that situation, like I feel a little bit anxious, but it's an opportunity for me to like feel the anxiety, know that right, this is okay, like it's okay for me to like feel a little bit anxious, but also it's kind of like teaching myself that just because I have anxiety it doesn't necessarily mean that something like really bad's gonna happen, because we all get like general anxiety, like, you know, now and then. It's just about like your like thought process around it, whether you think it's like a real negative thing to feel, or whether you just like gradually come to terms that this is like part of you. And that's like where I'm really trying to get at the moment. So you'll see through like my Instagrams and my TikToks, I'm really continuing to try to like push myself out of my comfort zone, try new things, but also like with the gym, like I and like personally in my own life, I feel like I've just like shrunk myself, and I don't know if that resonates, but when you feel, oh, why am I getting upset? When you feel like scared of the world around you, give me a minute, or you feel like anxious, you kind of like put yourself in a corner. Nobody puts baby in a corner, but you kind of like box yourself, don't you? And you kind of like say no to doing things, like maybe like with your friends if they asked you out because you're like not comfortable like going out and like being around like a big group of people, or do you know what I mean? Like you start to just like shrink yourself, and I'm trying to like gradually like go and like do like more things that make me anxious and just like learn to kind of feel that anxiety and be okay with it. But at the same time, like it's a balancing act, isn't it? Because I'm learning now. I'm 29 now, nearly 30. I feel like I'm like, oh, getting old, but it's all good. It's a balancing act because you get to a point, the point that I'm at now is where I'm like, well, actually, like maybe I don't actually like want to do that thing. Like if there's like two parts of it, isn't there? Like, is it causing you anxiety because you like just don't feel comfortable, but there's no actual logical reason why you don't feel comfortable? Or do you just like not want to do that thing and it's making you feel anxious because you're going to feel out of place, or like you don't really want to do, like you don't actually want to do it? Do you know what I mean? So I'm trying to, and this is something to like think about as well when you're weighing up like whether to do certain things. Like, do you not want to do it, or like do you not want to do it and you're kind of like using anxiety as a bit of an excuse, or do you like really want to do it but your anxiety is holding you back? And if the second one is the case, what can you do to like feel comfortable in that environment? And it comes back to like control. Like for me, I get really anxious going on public transport because I've had instances of sexual harassment and assault on trains and tubes. So for me, like in that circumstance, if I really wanted to go and do something, but going there, like the travel was making me feel anxious, then I would drive there. That's like an example, because then I feel like in control and I've kind of taken out the aspect that will cause me the most anxiety. But also as well, like sharing your experiences and how you feel like with your friends and those around you as well. Like just say like, I feel a little bit anxious about this. Like if they are real friends, or like people that really care about you, then they'll do, you know, what they can to help you feel more comfortable and at ease. So that's where we're at the moment. Really trying to push myself out of my comfort zone, but kind of like do it at my own pace. I have like a dream. I'm going to say it here because then maybe in like a few years I'll look back and I'll actually be doing it. But I have a dream that I will be like confident enough to go and like solo travel on my own. Why am I just like feeling like so emotional? Which feels like so unachievable at the moment, but we'll get there. I think as well as like a like single woman on your own, it's just scary, isn't it? Like it's just scary, and I'm thinking of things that I can do as well, like around my confidence, but to like make me feel like stronger and more empowered, like because I do fear the world around me and I do fear like men, which comes back to my own like traumas that I've gone through. But I really want to do like boxing, or like self-defense classes, but then like that's another thing that I'm like trying to build my confidence up to go to, because I'm going to be really anxious about that. So that's one thing on the list anyway. So keep tuned, you'll probably see me trying to do things like that. But that's the goal anyway. I really want to go like traveling, I really want to see the world. So this like journey is kind of like building up to that. I really want to get to a place where I can manage my anxiety in a positive way and I'll feel okay going travelling on my own. So that's the goal. Anyway, I hope that's like useful in terms of like some ideas that have kind of helped me, and I hope that resonates as well in terms of your own journey. But I'm going to now just answer like a few questions that you asked me over on Instagram. So the first question was, how do you stop yourself from an anxiety setback taking over? Thank you for this question. I feel it's so like valid, isn't it? Because like when you suffer an anxiety episode, it's like all consuming, particularly when you're like an anxious person. You can like overthink these things so much. And like recently I had like a near episode where I like nearly had a panic attack, and I was just like, the way that you talk to yourself plays such a huge part in it. So that's like the first thing that I would suggest, is just like consider how you talk to yourself like after those moments. Like for me, like looking back, so in that moment I like thought, well, you know what, like looking back, I have like suffered like way more in terms of like my panic attacks and anxiety than I did on that day, and I've still made progress. Like just bear in mind that, and keep telling yourself that, yeah, it was like a little anxiety episode, but look how much like you've moved forward, and also like what you can learn from that episode. Like just kind of like look at it holistically rather than just thinking, oh my god, like I'm never going to feel any better, or I'm so embarrassed, do you know that this thing happened? And kind of like talking to other people about it can really help as well. Family or friends, they're like so important to like keeping you grounded and present. So yeah, that's like another thing that I would mention, like grounding. So whatever can you bring you back to like a reset position. So whether that's like talking to friends or family, or like therapy, is obviously a useful tool. Just to have someone like impartial to just like word vomit at can be really useful. But also like meditation. I don't know if you do meditation. Meditation was a huge part, particularly at the start of my journey when I was having panic attacks. It kind of gives you some tools and tips as well for how to like manage when you're in that anxiety headspace. But it's just an opportunity to, because I feel like our minds can be like constantly switched on, can't they? And like constantly busy. And it's so important to give your mind space to just like not think of anything. So if you have suffered like an anxiety setback, it's probably going to be on your mind like constantly. So prioritize that time, like even if it's just 5-10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever, in the morning and the evening. Allocate that time to yourself to just like shut off. And I think as well, when you're thinking about like your anxiety in general, if you've had like a big setback, it's really important to and it's ironic me saying this now, making a video on YouTube, but it's really important to not be like sucked in by like social media and the internet and things like that, because you go on, if you've just had like an anxiety setback or you've like had a panic attack or whatever it may be, you go on to Instagram and you see like all these people, they look like they're doing like amazing things, living these massive lives. It kind of like shrinks you back down, doesn't it? And it makes you feel like you're not achieving enough and that, yeah, you're just not like confident like everybody else, like, which is not the case. Like everybody has their struggles, everybody gets anxiety. They just choose to show what they choose to show, which is fine, but it's important that you prioritise your own mental health in those moments. Yeah, so thank you for that question. I hope that kind of helps, and I think I touched on a few of those points before in the video as well. And this actually, the next question is kind of, I think I've kind of answered that. How do you move forward after a panic attack? So yeah, grounding, therapy, thinking about talking to yourself positively, but also self-care, like what are you doing for yourself? So that could be like, you know, your meditation and your grounding and your therapy and things like that. But what makes you feel good? That could be like exercising, it could be eating better, it could be like doing a face mask or doing your nails or like going shopping, or like just think about what genuinely makes you feel like happy, because obviously you want to get those serotonin levels up. So if we've got to do a shopping spree, you know, got to do what you've got to do, aren't you? So yeah, just do things that make you feel good in that moment, and also just like reflect on like how far you've come, because I'm sure you have like achieved so much and you're way further forward than you were like when you first got anxiety. And if you're not, then you're just at the start of your journey, and it's kind of like exciting to see the person that you're going to become like once you've put in this work. Once you've like, you know, started like doing like graded exposure, like maybe like trying to do more things that make you feel a little bit anxious, to like build your confidence over time. Maybe you're gonna like go to therapy, maybe you're gonna do cognitive behavioural therapy. Like just think of like it's a starting point, and just think of the person that you're gonna be, like manifest her and she will come. She will come. And that's why we're here. So they're all the questions kind of like rounded up. So thank you so much for those that asked me questions. If you don't follow me over on Instagram or TikTok yet, please do go drop me a follow. And if you are not subscribed to this channel yet and you liked the video, please do click subscribe and like the video. Feel free to pop any comments under there as well, like if there's anything else that you can think of that you'd like me to like chat about, let me know. But until then, I will see you in the next one.